When Maya opened her laptop on a Monday morning, the first thing she noticed was not a new email or a meeting invite. It was a calendar full of cancellations. The weekly team sync was gone. The project review was gone. Even the planning session she had spent 3 months preparing for had vanished. Then she saw a message from her manager. "We'll discuss next steps soon." The strange part was that Maya's team had done everything they were told to do. They had created process documents, recorded workflows, organized files, and prepared transition notes. For months, leadership had praised them for making operations clearer and easier to scale. But now the people who built that system were suddenly missing from the conversations. Maya worked as an operations analyst at a growing technology company. Her team was responsible for fixing inefficient processes across several departments. They were not the most visible group in the company, but they solved problems that affected hundreds of employees. When leadership asked them to document everything, Maya saw it as a sign of trust. The team created detailed guides, recorded training videos, and built dashboards showing how their work was done. Their manager told them this would help the company grow and make their contributions more visible. At first, it seemed like a positive change. Other departments started using their documentation. New employees relied on their guides. Executives mentioned how organized the team had become. But one detail bothered Maya. The praise was always about the system, never about the people who created it. A few months earlier, Maya had presented a process improvement during a leadership meeting. The response was encouraging, but afterward, her manager suggested that the team focus less on presenting and more on making the information available. At the time, Maya thought it was just a communication preference. Then another small change happened. A new director joined the company and began asking questions about the team's workflows. Instead of inviting Maya or her coworkers into those discussions, leadership started forwarding their documents. The documents were traveling further than the people who created them. That detail changed how Maya viewed everything. The team had spent months making their work easy to understand, but they had also made their responsibilities easier to transfer. This situation reflects something that happens in many organizations. Documentation is valuable because it reduces confusion and helps companies operate consistently. But workplace researchers have also noted that visibility matters. Employees can create enormous value, but if decision makers only see the final product and not the person behind it, recognition and opportunity can become disconnected from contribution. Maya's problem was not that she documented her work. The problem was that the documentation became the only evidence leadership saw. Soon, the stakes became clearer. Her manager scheduled a meeting titled Organizational Alignment. During the call, the team heard that the company was restructuring several functions. Their processes would remain, but responsibilities would move under another department. Nobody said the team had failed. Nobody criticized their performance. In fact, leadership thanked them for creating a strong foundation. But after the meeting, Maya noticed something important. The new owners of the processes had already been introduced to senior leaders. Her team, the people who built everything, were now supporting from the background. The most surprising detail came 2 weeks later, when Maya discovered that her manager had been preparing for this transition long before the restructuring announcement. The documentation project was not only about improving efficiency, it was part of a broader plan to make the department easier to reorganize. That did not necessarily mean anyone was trying to harm Maya or her coworkers. In many companies, leaders document processes because they need flexibility, especially during growth, mergers, budget changes, or restructuring. But the warning sign was that Maya's team had prepared the company for change without preparing their own position within that change. The documents proved what the team had built. They did not prove who should lead it. Maya changed how she worked after that. She continued documenting, but she stopped treating documentation as the final step. She started attaching ownership to projects, sharing progress updates directly with stakeholders, and asking clearer questions about future responsibilities. Instead of simply writing, "Here is how this process works," she began writing, Here is the improvement our team created, the impact it produced, and the role we should have in maintaining it. Eventually, Maya learned that the team was not disappearing because their work was unimportant. They disappeared because the organization had captured their knowledge without clearly protecting their visibility. The empty calendar that started the story was not just a scheduling problem. It was a sign that decisions had been happening around them instead of with them. Documentation can protect a company, but employees also need documentation that protects their contribution. When Maya first opened that laptop and saw the canceled meetings, she thought something had been taken away overnight. Later, she realized the warning signs had been there for months, hidden inside every document that carried the team's work, but not their names. Has your workplace ever asked you to document everything without explaining what your role would be afterward? Have you seen a project continue while the people who built it slowly became invisible?